Hey everyone, it's Aesah, and welcome to my video for the patch 14.2 meta update. As of the time of recording this, the patch has been out for about 24 hours, so still pretty early. We actually haven't seen any new compositions pop up to the top, which is actually really unusual for such an early patch into the set, but we have seen some other comps being shifted around, kind of based on what got nerfed or buffed. So I'm just going to use the Diamond Plus filter. You can kind of use for whatever your rank. I'll give my thoughts on how I feel about these comps playing at the Challenger level. I'm about top 10 NA right now. And Vayne being the best in data, this is also generally considered to be the best comp in Challenger. You can roll on level 6, go for 3-star Vayne, Ross. Something that doesn't show up here, and I haven't seen that players in NA do that often, but Chinese players are doing, is you can also go for Skarner. 3 Anima Squad is actually very unimpactful. It does give you a little bit of damage, but having a Skarner 3 is just going to be really good, and you're mostly going to be rolling on level 6. So it is something that you can hold and try to hit, and let's say you hold 6 Skarners, and you hit your Vayne 3 and you hit your Ross 3, and at this point you have 6 Skarners, you can just sell them. You only lose 2 gold by selling, or 1 gold for each 2-star 2 cost, so no reason not to go for it, basically. But yeah, this comp is really good. Roll on level 6. Vayne really needs 1 Rageblade. It's really important. Other than that, you can just slam all kinds of items on her because there's other AD carries in Senna and Zed who can use these items later on. You can slam Infinity Edge and even like Hand of Justice on Vayne early game and just move it to Zed later. The reason you want to roll on 7 after level 6 is you want to go for Jarvan 3, Senna 3, and because you're saving a lot of gold by not spending it on leveling, you can actually get Leona and Zed as well. Even though your odds are better on level 8, you won't have to be spending the 48 gold that you need to go to level 8. And this comp just doesn't really benefit much from level 8. You fit your entire 4 Slayer, 4 Vanguard core on level 7. If you do level, you can play maybe, like maybe a Renekton to give your team a little bit of attack speed, but it's just not that valuable. But yeah, really good comp. Another really, really, really nice thing about this comp is you can slam Rageblade on your Vayne, and you can actually flex between Twisted Fate, which is another extremely good comp. Twisted Fate did see some buffs, direct buffs. In the Vayne comp, Jarvan saw a lot of buffs. It's more so a lot of the top performing comps got nerfed that are kind of making these comps that were already pretty good do better as well. It's a combination of everything. But yeah, these two kind of go hand in hand. You hold Vanguards as your front line, you slam Rageblade, and then you can flex Vayne or Twisted Fate. It's both of their best items. I have a guide on both of these, so you can check those out. Twisted Fate, again, you really want 1 Rageblade. Other than that, you also really want 1 Gunblade, but the Gunblade is a little bit more optional. The most important thing is you have 1 Rageblade. And then you want a lot of frontline in both of these comps to give your Rageblade time to ramp up. Same thing here. You can play Rost, but you can also play Skarner. Just kind of hold both, see what you hit more of. And if you ever have to sell a 2-star Skarner because you're mostly only playing 1 other Vanguard on this board as compared to this comp where you can actually play both of them, if you do have to sell a 2-star Skarner, it's fine. You only lose 1 gold. No big deal. For the option to maybe hit a bunch of Skarners, it's definitely worth it. Next one is Rengar. This comp was really popular last patch. It did see some nerfs, but they're very light relative to the strength of the comp. The comp was so strong, a lot of players in NA Challenger were basically calling this comp on stage 1 before they received a single item. It was so strong that anyone with 1 Rengar from an orb on stage 1 was trying to play it. And it got, like, relative to that, like a pretty light nerf, so still performing really well. You can go Vertical Street Demon, which is more consistent, but you can also go Executioner as well, which is down here, listed as a separate comp. Executioner is better if you can hit Urgot, but if not, then going Vertical Street Demons and Jinx 3 is better. This one is also more expensive because you want to go for Jinx 3. I guess you could go for Jinx instead of Varus, but oftentimes you'll actually want to go for Jinx, Rengar, and Varus together if you have some sort of econ augment like rig shop or something that can enable that. But yeah, Executioner just gets a really big spike at 5. It's when the Executioners gain durability. So this one is a lot more dependent on hitting Urgot. You'll usually be rolling at level 7, so you usually won't have him. If you have an emblem, you'll want to play 5 Executioner. And you can use Jinx as your emblem holder. Shaco is a comp that's been more popular recently. Shaco got some direct buffs, and then you can play a pretty similar board to it as just a Vayne comp. Braum is a Vanguard, so you already have Shaco, Braum, and then just you need one more unit to give Syndicate to Shaco, just like a Darius, and then later it can be a Misfortune. Doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, Shaco got some buffs, so you can play this. You can also go Shaco 3 and then go into Vayne 3 also, depending on how many you hit. And then even, maybe even reroll on 7 for like Jarvan after that. Veigar, another comp that, due to other comps being nerfed, I don't know how much this comp was buffed, but definitely performing pretty well. It's also kind of enabled by 2-cost reroll. If you have a Vayne player and a Twisted Fate player in your lobby, taking out all these 2-cost Vanguards, all these Vaynes, all these Twisted Fates, even like Darius, then they're not intersecting your Veigars and Shyvanas. It'll make it a lot easier for you to hit. So uh, basically, if you see anyone playing any of these 3 2-cost reroll comps, it should make you more inclined to play one of the other ones. Don't ever play one of these contested if you can avoid it. Sometimes it's absolutely unavoidable. You can't really control what the other players in your lobbies do, but you should try your absolute hardest to avoid it if you're trying to gain LP. Next one's Exotech. I have a guide on all these comps, but Exotech, yeah, this comp was really good last patch. It's still really good. A lot of the Exotech items got rebalanced, so Cyber Coil is considered the weakest now, but the rest of them are all fine. Hollow Bow on Zeri is really good. Make sure you have crit because it gives you a lot of crit. So you need to pair it with either Infinity Edge or the Exotech crit item Pulse Stabilizer. Street Demon, this comp, similarly to Exotech, was just these comps were both really good standard level 8 comps last patch. And they're just both still really good. I like to play 4 Cyber Boss on level 9 here with this comp if you have the option. I don't think that many people are doing it, but yeah, it seems Poppy is not played with this at all. But I learned this recently from Precedent, and I think it's a stronger version than playing Mundo and Zyra. Basically, it's this this board is level 8. The standard version also has usually Dr. Mundo, which would give you 5 Street Demon. Maybe Samira instead, since Mundo would also be your 3rd bruiser. Either way, you would drop that 5th Street Demon along with Zyra and play Veigar and Poppy instead. I think that version is going to be stronger. Yeah, these two are you're really good. Just go to level 8 AD comp, go to level 8 AP comp. The thing with Exotech, Rageblade is really important. Also really good because it kind of intersects with these. For example, if you are planning to reroll Vayne, someone else is contesting you, maybe you can go into Exotech Zeri. Bastion, Zen, and Draven. So this is usually the Cypher cash out comp. I have a video on Cypher, talked about this comp a bit. Yeah, it's good. It's nice because you don't have to transition out of the units when playing Cypher. There's Zen, this same board as the Vayne comp, but you can just focus on different units. Sometimes you'll be rolling on level 6 and you'll have 5 Sennas and 2 Vaynes, and you're just gonna be like, okay, you know what? I was just gonna play Senna instead. Or you might not be able to get Rageblade, which is such an important Vayne item. This comp is back. This is a comp from the first patch, kind of Strategist Amp. Yeah, it's still good. Samira got her buffs. Samira got nerfed really hard in the B patch. She got some buffs back. Same thing with Annie. So this comp is back a little bit, but I think it's worse than. I generally agree with kind of the way these are presented in the stats on how good they are for the most part. I mean, this Cypher comp, if you have Cypher early and you're able to pull off a big cash out, should be able to win out. But you can also just cash out Cypher and transition into either Exotech or Street D and Brand Nico, or of course Strat Amp, which was really popular at the start of the set. Anima Squad has fallen down a bit. It's just kind of can't keep up with some of these other comps, but it's definitely a good option, especially if you can tempo into it. It's kind of easy to just keep the units and then not have to make a crazy transition. That'll let you go level 9 and play around Aurora, who's still the strongest unit in the game. She was not touched at all. Cruiser Fiddlesticks. This comp is really good if you can get certain artifacts. Fiddle can use a few of them. I have a guide on this. I'm not sure how much I talked about artifacts, but Talisman is really good on Cho'Gath. Locket's really good on Cho'Gath. Snipers and Lighting Jewel are really good on Fiddle. Nitro got changed this patch to be more reroll focused. A lot of the value of the bot comes from 3-starring your Nitro units now. So yeah, you could go for the reroll as opposed to kind of tempoing out of Nitro, which was pretty popular a few days ago. If you do play Nitro as your opener and you don't want to reroll, a lot of times you'll want to drop the Nitro units. The bot is just a lot weaker if you don't 3-star your Nitro units. So yeah, you can play kind of this AP version, playing around Elise. I personally haven't seen this one that much. But you could play around either Dynamo as your backline. You can play around Amp with Annie, Oxforce. Veiga will get Oxforce and Techie in this version here. This is like less of a reroll. It's not performing that well, kind of like I said. You really want to reroll Nitro if you're keeping it on your endgame board. And then another version down here is Neferi and Jhin. So you can roll at level 6 for Neferi and Jhin as kind of your duo carries. I find these comps kind of do well with Augment like Starry Night because that'll help you also 3-star your Nitro units and let that bot scale. Yeah, Neferi got a lot of buffs this patch, so a little bit better, but doesn't seem to be doing as well in my experience. I play a lot of games today as the other 2-cost reroll comps, but it is an option. And once again, if you see a lot of other people are rerolling 2 costs, then you could go for something like this. The problem is a lot of these other ones, Vayne, Twisted Fate, and Veigar, they all are heavy single target comps, and playing melee carries into heavy single targets can just be risky because if you don't have kind of the perfect positioning, they can kill your carry in the first few seconds of the fight, and then you're going to take a really bad loss. Dynamo, Misfortune, Aurora. Have not made a video on this yet. That'll probably be the next comp I do a video guide on, but yeah, pretty straightforward. 3 Syndicate. Your front line, you can go like Gragas and Ross to get like Divinicore here, or you can just kind of lean into more damage. Lana is really good with Braum. If you play Jhin for Dynamo, Xayah will give you Marksman. You have 3 Anima here, but honestly, I think I'm a little suspect of prioritizing Anima here. These are just good units, but oftentimes you don't want to play as Xayah if she has no items, even if she's activating 2 different traits. Like if you're 2 out of 3 Anima, 1 out of 2 Marksman for your Jhin who doesn't have items, there's not much point in playing as Xayah here. And oftentimes she shares items with Misfortune, so you're not going to have like the same set of items for both. One thing you can definitely do is flex between the two on your roll down, and whichever one you 2-star can be your item holder, so that's kind of nice. Golden Ox. Golden Ox has been pretty popular. It's a really fun trait to play. You just get a lot of loot. I think with the emblem, this is pretty viable if you are really ahead of your lobby, but without emblem, it's kind of you rely on hitting Viego to hit 6 Golden Ox, which kind of gives you that combat scaling with extra items. Also, it just doesn't give you as much combat as other traits, so you really have to be ahead. It's more of a trait that turns kind of a guaranteed top 4 kind of spot into like a first. Just because normally you can't really be afford to be playing, like an Alistair and a Graves on your board down basically 2 full units that are only giving your other units a little bit more damage amp. You can't really afford to be doing that on stage 4 onwards unless you're already really ahead. Then you can sacrifice 2 unit slots to kind of snowball that lead. Again, this is to turn like a spot that's kind of already guaranteed top 4, probably like a top 3, probably even a top 2, into like a guaranteed first or second kind of thing. Boombot, 6 Boombot did get a buff, so if you are able to get 6 Boombot online with Emblem or early Urgot, or like 2 emblems, this is something you can go for, but it's a little unreliable, right? Because you're usually not going to randomly have the emblem, or you're not going to randomly have the Urgot, one or the other. If you do somehow get to a line, 6 Boombot did get a buff, pretty strong. Pretty strong. And you can play like Gragas to pair with Cho'Gath, Vex to pair with Urgot, and then Garen to just pass on more Divinity Cores, and yeah, pretty straightforward here. That's gonna wrap it up on this video for the 14.2. Again, this is recorded about 24 hours later, so it's still pretty early. And yeah, I have video guys on every single one of these comps except for this one, which will be coming out soon. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the Discord, and thanks for watching.